This video will have 3 parts. Includes details of the Burning Sun case, the Molcha Chat case, and the Seungri case. These 3 cases are completely different, but the media published it under a big scandal called Burning Sun. We hope you watch all 3 parts of this video. The Seungri case began when the media accused him of using prostitution services and being a member of a Molcha chat room. As previously mentioned in the Burning Sun video, Seungri's first interrogation and drug test were voluntary and at his own request. Thus, Seungri, in cooperation with the police, handed over all of his mobile phones, including old and new ones. The following video is of his second interrogation, and a reporter asked him, "Did you hand over your phone to the police?" Seungri replied, "Yes, I did." The reporter asked, "Did you hand over your old phone as well?" And he again replied, "Yes, I did."
휴대폰 경찰 조사에서 제출하셨습니까?
제출했습니다.
승리 씨가
휴대폰 제출했습니다.
Then an article headlined that Seungri refused to hand over his phone. This solely shows how the articles were published with bad intentions. The following video, which is part of Seungri's lawyer statements, is also interesting. You can read the subtitle below.
어제 오후에 추가로 제기된 승리 씨에 대한 의혹에 대해서 제가 한 말씀 드리겠습니다. 많은 분들께서 궁금해하실 텐데요. 그저께 저희에게 모 유력 언론사에서 그러한 제보를 받았다는 연락을 받았습니다. 그리고 사실관계에 대한 확인을 요청받았고요. 저희가 알고 있는 모든 사실에 대해서 상세히 설명을 드렸고 그 유력 언론사에서는 기사화하지 않기로 결정한 것으로 알고 있습니다. 이 점을 참고하여 주시기 부탁드리고 새롭게 제기된 의혹에 대해서는 입장을 정리해서 조만간 말씀드리도록 하겠습니다.
One of the criticisms that Seungri received was for his 5th round of police investigations, where he was criticized due to his well-groomed appearance, and accused of going to the salon before coming to the police station for interrogation and facing the cameras of the reporters, not only fixing his hair but also fully applying makeup on his face. In his defense, the owner of the hair salon came forward and clarified that Seungri actually did not receive a full makeup service and added most of what is being said about Seungri is not true. I was surprised to hear that people believe Seungri got a full-on makeover before going to his investigation. A lot of the things being said about him are actually not true, so I thought I should clarify. Seungri did not look good at all that day. He simply got a haircut to look a bit more presentable. We covered up the darkness under his eyes with makeup, but that's about it. People are starting to believe fake news is truth, but that's not fair. I felt the need to let people know what is and isn't true. Seungri endured more than 50 interrogations over the span of 337 days. His first interrogation occurred on February 27, 2019. He arrived at the police station at 9 p.m. Korea Standard Time and departed 8.5 hours later at 5:30 a.m. Korea Standard Time.
저는 오늘 오전에 저에 대한 엄중한 수사를 촉구드리는 탄원서를 경찰에 제출하였습니다. 다시 한번 죄송하다 말씀드리고 싶고요.
오늘 모발 검사 일가실 계획 있으십니까?
예, 할 겁니다. 예.
Notably, on that day, he underwent a drug test, which later yielded negative results.
아이고, 죄송합니다.
승리 씨 군대 언제 가십니까?
죄송합니다.
앞으로 해외 투어 일정 어떻게 하실 겁니까?
지금 이 시점에 이 9시 밤 9시 이 시점에서 나오신 이유는 누구세요?
On March 15, 2019, Seungri faced a grueling 16-hour questioning session by the police, finally exiting the Seoul Metropolitan Police Agency at 6:15 a.m., navigating through a throng of reporters as he departed. In April 2019, Seungri was subjected to back-to-back interrogations. The first session, held on April 23rd, was prematurely halted after 10 hours from 1 p.m. to 11 p.m. due to Seungri's health issues. Nevertheless, he was promptly summoned to appear the very next day, April 24th at 1 p.m. By May 16, 2019, it was disclosed that Seungri had undergone police questioning a total of 16 times. On August 28, Seungri faced a grueling 12-hour interrogation on suspicion of involvement in gambling activities. The intense session commenced at 10 a.m. and unfolded in full view of the media and the public. Subsequently, due to the consistent public disclosure of the dates and times of Seungri's interrogations, he submitted a request for the dates to be changed to maintain his appearances at the police station undisclosed. As a result, many subsequent interrogations were conducted in private. It wasn't until 2021 that it came to light that Seungri had undergone over 50 interrogations by police, prosecutors, and military prosecutors. On March 11, 2019, Seungri made the shocking announcement of his departure from Big Bang and retirement from the entertainment industry. Reflecting on his departure, he expressed how being under an agency prevented him from effectively refuting the allegations against him. Before this incident, Seungri was slated to enlist in military service on March 25, 2019. However, to cooperate with the investigation, he postponed his enlistment. Since he couldn't postpone it more than once, he finally enlisted on March 9, 2020. This led to public accusations that he joined the army to evade the investigation. As a result of his enlistment, Seungri's trials were conducted in a military court. Before delving into Seungri's accusations and trials, it's essential to provide context about Yuri Holdings. Founded by Seungri and his partner Yoo In-suk, Yuri Holdings invests in restaurants and entertainment businesses like bars. Seungri owns 40% of the company's shares, with Yoo In-suk serving as its head. In the Burning Sun video, it was revealed that Yuri Holdings held a 20% stake in the Burning Sun Club, with 8% attributed to Seungri. Furthermore, in Molca Chat video, it was disclosed that Seungri was part of a business-related group alongside Jong Junyang. This group is linked to Yuri Holdings, which had invested in Jong Junyang's restaurant called Myeoldang Pucha. Their discussions centered around business matters. Notably, in 2019, Seungri donated all his shares from Yuri Holdings to the social welfare legal entity, the Green Umbrella Children's Fund. Now, let's get to the main part of the video. What were the charges against Seungri, and what happened during his trial hearings? Seungri underwent 25 trial hearings from September 2020 until August 2021. Initially facing 8 charges, this number increased to 9 during the hearings. 1. Prostitution mediation for others. On February 26, 2019, reporter Khan, who was also mentioned in the Molca Chat video, published an article containing chats alleging that Seungri, along with singer C, COU of Yuri Holdings, and employee Kim, provided sexual services to foreign investors between December 2015 and January 2016. As it was said in Molca Chat video, Seungri's name was mentioned from very first. However, reporter Khan kept the identity of singer C hidden for weeks until March 11, 2019 that Molca Chat news broke out, and it turned out to be Jong Junyang. After the publication of these chats, there were many criticisms that the messages were fabricated. For example, the message of singer C was deleted in one of the similar chats. Reporter Kong replied that she only cleaned the inappropriate expressions. Amidst these allegations, reporter Kong changed her words 3 times. Initially, she claimed that the services were provided to a Taiwanese female investor, then switched to a Singaporean male investor, and finally alleged that it was a Japanese male investor named Mr. A at a Christmas party in 2015. Seungri's side denied all accusations and even offered to undergo a lie detector test during the investigation process. Subsequently, the Japanese investor, Mr. A, refuted the claims, stating that he had visited Korea with his wife and had never engaged in any sexual services. He expressed his willingness to testify in Korea, but the Korean court did not permit his testimony. In late April 2019, Yoo In-suk admitted to arranging and funding the mediation. Additional chats involving Seungri conversing with CEO Kim about women, referring to them as options 1, 2, and 3, were also made public. Seungri later shared real messages with the media to disprove the previously published fake messages. However, the media did not publish the real messages for a week. According to the chats provided by Seungri, the person who Seungri were talking with wants a woman to accompany him for a business meeting so he can introduce her as his partner, and they were talking about this matter that who he should take with himself. At the end, he went alone and did not take any woman with himself. In December 2017, Seungri rented an entire resort on Palawan Island for his birthday party and invited his Korean and foreign friends. The event gained significant attention that year. In 2019 and after 2015 Christmas party allegation, reporter Kong said on SBS News broadcast that she saw Seungri's Palawan birthday pictures and videos and she did not feel good about it. Therefore, she thinks that he used prostitution services at this birthday. Yes. She just feels like it was like that. Although there was no specific evidence, police investigated all of Palawan birthday guests and interrogated some as witnesses. At the end and after a long journey, police announced that they can't confirm the use of prostitution services at Seungri's Palawan birthday. Police said that it is true that some people had sex but it was not sexual services. At that time, media used every photo of Seungri's birthday in which a woman was present and accused each of Seungri's female friends of being a prostitute. And despite police findings confirming no prostitution services at Seungri's birthday party, media outlets never apologized to his female friends. During Seungri's third trial, Mr. Kim In-chul appeared as a witness while serving a prison term for the Molca Chat case. Mr. Kim emphasized multiple times that the prostitution mediation was an order from Yoon Suk and not Seungri. He disclosed that the women who had sex with the Japanese man were sent by Yoon Suk, and at that time, Seungri was too busy to get involved in this matters. Mr. Kim also mentioned that during the investigation, he was questioned as if police were looking for the answer they wanted. In the fourth hearing, Mr. Park testified regarding the prostitution charges, stating that it was Yoon Suk who ordered the arrangement of women prostitutes for the Japanese businessman group, and he never discussed such matters with Seungri. Additionally, 2 women associated with prostitution charges testified that the one who paid them was not Seungri. In the seventh hearing, 2 other adult entertainment establishment workers testified that Yoon Suk was responsible for the deposits related to prostitution services and not Seungri. During the 11th hearing, Jong Junyoung appeared as a witness and was questioned about the prostitution mediation during the 2015 Christmas party. Initially admitting to his involvement in prostitution, Jong Junyoung clarified that when they invited a Japanese millionaire in 2015 they mostly talked about business, and there was no talk about prostitution at all. He also said he have talked a lot about women with Yoon Suk but he had never heard anything about prostitutes that is related to Seungri. Throughout the trial proceedings, 11 women associated with prostitution services involved in the case testified that Seungri never contacted them about prostitution services. Not for himself, not for others. And all witnesses associated with prostitution charges consistently testified that it was Yoon Suk who ordered and not Seungri. But the important issue is that during the hearings, various witnesses who appeared to testify, including women, claimed that there are different contents written in their police questioning records compared to their actual statements. 2. Prostitution for self. Seungri denied this charge as well. And it's essential to clarify that a prostitute is a person who engages in sexual activity for payment. It means that the person engages in sex by their own will and there is no possibility of rape or sexual harassment. As a result, due to the existence of these charges, we cannot conclude that it was rape or sexual harassment, and the only reason Seungri has these 2 charges is that prostitution services have been illegal in Korea since 2004 and any trade related to sex is prohibited. 3. Distributing obscene material. Seungri was shared a nude photo of 3 women back in that 8 members business group chat we talked about before. Seungri pointed out in his first hearing that the photo was not taken by him. The photo was sent by the employee of a Singapore's adult entertainment establishment via WeChat for publicity purposes and was shared by Seungri in that group. The prosecutor failed to confirm identity of the women. On Seungri's third hearing, Kim In-chul said that he had never seen Seungri having sex with a woman and absolutely nor had he seen him while illegal recording or other things. He added that Seungri had frequent overseas performances so he did not reply quickly in the group chat room. As an entertainer, He was conscious of people and warned his friends about what they said and did. He liked to throw big parties but never talked about sexual desire. He also said that the nude photo that Seungri sent to the group was not taken by Seungri, and it was a promotional material for an overseas bar. Jong Junyoung also testified as a witness during the 11th hearing that during the investigation, he instinctively assumed the picture was taken by Seungri, as he himself had engaged in similar behavior in the past. However, he clarified that he does not actually know whether Seungri took that particular picture. Additionally, he stated that he does not recall ever seeing Seungri post photos of women in their group chats. 4. Habitual gambling. Seungri acknowledged simple gambling right from outset but disputed the claim that it was habitual. 5. Violation of Foreign Exchange Transaction Act. Seungri borrowed money in US dollars on behalf of his acquaintances from a casino in Las Vegas. As his acquaintances repaid this loan in Japan, it constituted a foreign exchange transaction that ought to have been registered. Seungri himself did not spend any amount of this money, and it was all for his Japanese acquaintances. He admitted to this charge. 6. Violation of Food Sanitation Act. Monkey Museum was Seungri's lounger bar and it was registered as a general restaurant rather than a bar. In 13th hearing, Monkey Museum CO testified that Seungri was never involved in an actual operation of the bar, and he did not come there often. He even didn't come once a month. He also claimed, like many previous witnesses, that there are different contents written in their police questioning records compared to their actual statements, including some parts of the contents that he did not say. An employee from Monkey Museum also confirmed in 10th hearing that Seungri was never involved in bar's operation. 7. Embezzlement of Burning Sun revenues. A breach of standard accounting and distribution procedures through the payment of dividends before establishing corporate profits. Seungri claimed his money was a legitimate pre-profit business expense. This is the only charge Seungri has that related to Burning Sun Club. Police, after raided the Uri Holdings office, find out that 264 million won of Burning Sun funds transferred into Monkey Museum account. Seungri's side said that was deposited to Monkey Museum for its brand name usage. Until Burning Sun closed, it ran a DJ booth called Monkey Museum Zone and that money was used to pay for usage of the brand name. In 10th hearing, a witness related to this charge testified that he had never heard Seungri talking about dividends. 8. Embezzlement of Monkey Museum. Police announced during their investigation that they found a record of using 11 million won of company money in a way that doesn't fit the purpose of establishing Monkey Museum. And there was history that it was used as cash instead of corporate credit card. Seungri's side said this money was used for paying one of the employee legal fee as the problem would damage the bar's image. They said that initially they paid 11 million won but didn't hire a lawyer and only asked for advice, hence receiving 8.8 million won back. In 21st hearing, Mr. A, who was in charge of accounting position at Uri Holdings, testified that Seungri never directly called for funds executions. 9. Co-principal in instigating aggravated assault. In 7th hearing, Seungri's charges were changed from 8 to 9. He initially indicted for incitement of aggravated assault, then due to prosecution request, it changed to co-principal in instigating aggravated assault at final hearing. According to the military prosecution, when Seungri was drinking with his acquaintances in an inner room of a bar on December 30, 2015, he had quarrel with guests who opened his room. Afterwards, Yoon Suk called in a gang member he had usually known, called victims to back alley of a bar and threatened them. According to alleged victims, witnesses and Seungri was with an actress in an inner room of a bar, and one of the alleged victims, who was drunk, opened the door of the room and stared at the actress. Mr. A was an entertainment industry employee at JYP. According to CCTV video of the incident which military prosecution presented, Seungri smiled and soothed Mr. A. He was also seen shaking hands and talk with him. According to Seungri's lawyer, at that time Seungri did not inform his agency that he had meeting with that actress. As a result, he was afraid that he might get scolded by his president, and he did not want to spread any rumors. So there was no reason to increase the conflict by mobilizing gangsters. In addition, The person who was accused of aggravated assault by showing of his power to the victims outside the bar claimed in Seungri's 10th hearing that he had never seen Seungri directly mobilize the gang members, and also he had no connection with Seungri. Also, it was said that the alleged gangsters are bodyguards. In 15th hearing, 2 alleged victims of this charge appeared in the court. Victim A: I opened the door of the room where Seungri was in while trying to find an acquaintance I went with. Seungri showed a displeased look which made me said, "Why are you staring at me?" And I tried to lecture him. It is a fact that I was the one to pick the dispute. As I was an employee of entertainment industry, after I recognized him, I apologized and we even shake hands and hugged each other's. It was during the process of a police questioning that I found out the ones who dragged us to the alley were gangsters. Even after watching CCTV video I thought as were they really gangsters? But the police told me they were gangsters. I didn't feel assaulted or threatened and I don't want Seungri's punishment. Victim B: I casually entered the room where Seungri was in and came out. At that moment Seungri's other friends were there as well. I did not like the attitude of the people in the room, and then while I was talking to someone, I got pushed into the alley. There were no body fights. I think of it as just an incident happened on drinking party and forgot it. I didn't even know it was related to Seungri. Choi Jung-hoon also appeared as a witness at Seungri's 16th hearing. He stated that he had never seen or heard Seungri talk about a gangster group. After that, he cried and said that during police interrogation, when they asked about Seungri calling a gangster group, he answered like, maybe he could do that. He apologized to Seungri and said the interrogation lasted more than 12 hours, so he just wanted to finish it quickly, so he just said anything. The court had requested Yoo In-suk for witness attendance 3 times, but he did not appear at all. As a result, the court adopted Yoo In-suk interrogation records written during the police and prosecution interrogations as related evidence. On 22nd hearing, the court concluded the witness interrogation process. Until that day, the majority of witnesses stated that the one who arranged prostitution mediations was Yoo In-suk, and also he was associated with the gangster, not Seungri. 24th and 25th hearing trial was Seungri's defendant questioning, which was held on 2 consecutive days and lasted 17 hours in total. During these 2 hearings, Seungri said important things. He said about prostitution for himself in his home. At that time, I was young and popular, so I wasn't in a position to pay for a prostitute. My family lives right next door and knows the password of my house and often comes in. It doesn't make sense to engage in prostitution at home when both my parents and sister are there. He said about mediating prostitution for others. I was investigated for sexual services, but there was no evidence directly related to this charge. I did not know about it at all and found out during the investigations. Just because it was shared in the Kakao Talk group chat room does not mean I was aware of it. The contents of the group chat room were not everything in my life. There were more than 10 Kakao Talk groups that I was a member of, and I also used about 5 other social media platforms besides Kakao Talk. I received more than 500 messages in an hour. Just because I got the messages, I can't say I saw them all. I just clicked to erase the number and rarely participated in conversations. Especially, Seungri was accused of mediating prostitution to a Japanese investor who, it was said, came to Korea with his wife. Seungri said, "What kind of crazy man provides sexual service to someone who came with his wife? It doesn't make sense." He said about co-principal in aggravated assault. A person I did not know entered the room at once and wanted to fight with me. Even though I did not know that person, I was polite to him. I was afraid I might get caught sneaking out secretly without telling my agency because he was a JYP employee. If I had called a gangster, wouldn't I have gone to see him beaten? Or made him apologize to me? But there was no such thing. He said about the Jong Junyoung group chat. A lot of people still think I am involved in sexual crimes, but I'm not. The group of which I was a member was a business group for Pucha restaurant. Since that chat room was only between friends, there were some inappropriate talks, but there was no content related to the charges that led to Jong Junyoung being sentenced to prison. I know they're paying for their crimes, but as a person, as a friend, I treated them sincerely. But what they all said was like I wanted to finish it quickly. I thought I'd have to give the police the answer they wanted. It's not my case, so I didn't look carefully. I regret that I've been hanging out with such friends for 10 years, and it was pathetic. Regarding the message he was sent about good-giving girls, he said, "It's because of a typing mistake due to the autocomplete function. The term good-giving girls is not a phrase I usually use. I even testified to the investigators that it was a typing mistake for hanging out girls. If I, who even have female fans, had treated women with this attitude, I would have been detained earlier." All this happened because of a Kakao Talk group chat, like how we said police chief, and it was not something serious. But the police saw it as police collusion and tax evasion. The investigative agency thinks that everything from Kakao Talk's conversations is true. Just because of one police chief phrase, strict investigation orders were issued from upper management. It was almost an instruction to jail me. 160 police officers of the Metropolitan Investigation Unit were assigned to the Burning Sun investigation, and they were asked to just jail Seungri. The whole police department investigated me. I heard that I was the first person ever to be investigated as an individual by the National Tax Service. The police tried so hard to just link me to drugs unconditionally. I collected my hairs in front of the police. But the result was negative for 3 times. They asked me, "What did I do that the result of my test is not positive?" But I don't even smoke. A police officer said to me, "I am an expert in drug matters and I can say that your face is a face that absolutely has done drugs." After the 3rd test, they called me there and asked, "You really didn't do drugs?" Then they showed me pictures of other celebrities and asked me to tell them which one is doing drugs. In the end, the police never formally announced that my drug tests were negative, so no one knows. A detective said, "We'll unconditionally detain you because if we don't do that, we will definitely be fired. So confess." Since no one believed me, I even asked for a lie detector interrogation. It's natural to criticize me since it's because I'm a public figure and now involved in a disgraceful scandal. But the investigation was conducted only in the way that I should be detained, which was really hard, but I endured it. He said in response that he may have colluded with 32 witnesses to defend him. The police raided me 4 times. They took my cell phones away to find what conversations I had with my lawyer. All 6 of my mobile phones were submitted to the court. The police raided me, but since nothing came out, the National Tax Service raided me, but they did not find anything either, so the police raided the National Tax Service. In this kind of strict investigation, how can anyone collude with 32 witnesses? Seungri said at the end. The whole life that I had worked for since I was a trainee at the age of 17 was destroyed in a single moment because of my mistakes, and I feel terrible. Most of the articles that have been written about me are wrong. People said I ran away to the military. I received a warrant in November 2018, even before the Burning Sun incident broke out. But I applied for a postponement and was interrogated for a year. I was interrogated more than 50 times. Even 1 week before my enlistment, I was interrogated and raided by the police because I am the one who wants to prove my innocence. I apologize to my fans, my colleagues, my former company, and my family for all the trouble I caused. They are all suffering because of me. Seungri's lawyer also said. At that time, for various social and political reasons, it was decided to detain Seungri anyway. Therefore, every possible charge that could lead to his detain was collected. Among all the cases I have ever had, the interrogation records of this case had the most distortion. Just because public opinion was not good. But shouldn't the charges be based on reliable evidence? The prosecutor has requested a prison sentence for my client just because public opinion is against him. Being a celebrity means that you will be criticized for everything, but the court and the prosecutors must indict with valid evidence. In August 2021, Seungri's final trial took place, resulting in a 3-year prison sentence and a 1.15 billion won fine. He was detained at the court and then transferred to prison. As he was still in the military at the time, he was sent to a military prison. Following this verdict, Seungri appealed, and after 9 months from the initial sentence, his 3-year prison term was reduced to 1 year and 6 months. Having already served 9 months in military prison since the initial sentence, Seungri had only 9 months left to serve, leading to his transfer to a regular prison to complete his sentence. He was released in February 2023 after serving his time. Yoo In-suk was sentenced to a 1 year and 8 months suspension and 3 years probation for charges including embezzlement of business funds, procuring prostitution, and violating food sanitation laws. While Seungri received a prison sentence, Yoo In-suk, who admitted to his charges and had substantial evidence against him, received a probationary sentence and did not serve time in prison. In conclusion, the question remains whether Seungri was judged by an official court based on valid evidence, or if until the last moment, it was the media and the public who were judging him and calling for his punishment. However, the media still persist in their coverage of him. In October 2023, Dispatch released a report claiming that Seungri had been simultaneously dating 2 women and took both of them to the same place in Bali on different dates. Since these 2 women followed each other on Instagram, the truth came to light. However, one of these women, whose photos Dispatch used in their article, posted a story denying Dispatch's claims. She clarified that she is just a regular friend of Seungri and had a birthday celebration at the mentioned place where she invited Seungri. Seungri's name continues to grab headlines, highlighting the media's keen interest in this matter. The media spread various other rumors about Seungri. Things like he is going to open a new club or he is going to participate in a Burning Sun-themed event in a club in Indonesia. He recently denied all these rumors during his first official interview in a long time and said, "I want to remain quiet, but my name keeps coming up, and I feel it will tire people out, so I want to correct the facts. It says I'm going on August 31st, but I have no such plans at all. It's very surprising that something that isn't true has escalated to this extent. The reports related to the club are completely false." He indicated a strong response through a local law firm regarding violations of his right to portrait and defamation due to false information. Additionally, regarding reports in May about him preparing to open a club in Hong Kong through an aide, he firmly denied it, saying, "That's not true at all. I haven't even thought about it. In a way, all this situation happened because of a club, so it doesn't make sense for me to start a club again. I have never thought about it, planned it, or mentioned it to anyone. I have no intention of engaging in any club-related business now or in the future." At the end, a conclusion that might be useful. 1. The Burning Sun, Molca Chat, and Seungri's case are 3 separate cases that may seem intertwined due to the suspects' connections, but in reality, they are not related to each other. 2. None of the allegations against Burning Sun regarding drug distribution, sexual harassment of girls, etc. have been confirmed. 3. Many of the chats that were published in the media were fabricated, and this has been confirmed by the news agencies themselves. 4. Seungri has never been present in the Molca chat and has not even been summoned as a witness. 5. Seungri faces 9 charges, but none of these charges are related to sexual harassment. Seungri doesn't even have a victim of sexual harassment who has complained against him. 6. People like Yoo In-suk, who had a lot of evidence against them and admitted to committing the crimes, received lighter sentences than Seungri, who had less evidence against him. And this only brings to mind that Seungri was convicted only because he was in the center of public attention.